Boosted Hemi, what's going on, brother? Just another Wednesday night chat. We'll give folks another minute or two to hop in here. All right, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, thanks, Bruce. I appreciate it, brother. I know life happens, man. Life happens. I totally understand 100%. I know this isn't the best time for everybody. Yeah, it, you can't please everybody. All I can do is do it for the majority of folks. Let's see. We're up to four folks. We'll give it another minute or two, and I'll yap my gums for a minute, and hopefully we'll get some stuff going on in the chat. All right, we got a few people in here. Let me go ahead and get started. What I'm going to start out with tonight. I usually start out with shake and bake, but y'all heard me say the same thing for the past 3 or 4 weeks on what I'm doing to shake and bake. What's going on, Blown Dart? Thanks for chiming in, brother. I appreciate it. So I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about. I know most of us have done quite a few mods to our cars, but I want to talk about modifications. And you get to that certain point where you've modded your car out, and you're going to get to the point. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where stuff starts breaking, and you got to be prepared for that. And that's kind of what I'm going to hit on early on. And then hopefully after I get done yapping my gums a little bit, we get some folks in the chat. But it's like I said a minute ago. No matter the further you go down the modification route, the more horsepower you put through your car, the more torque you put through the car, the more, I'll say, beating you put on your car. Even though shake and bake's been pretty awesome. Eventually, you are going to get to the point where things are going to start breaking, and that's just a fact. You can ask any of the big guys out there. You know, you can go to HHP, you can go to Cetera Tunings, you can go to whoever you want to and say, hey, at what point do you think things start breaking? My opinion, when you get in right around that thousand wheel horsepower, I think is where you're really getting into to where things are going to start breaking. Up until that point, I think you're kind of safe. And it depends on the mod you buy, right? So you know, if you do upgrade the drive shaft, you upgrade your axles, you know, you upgrade your transmission, you upgrade your internals, right? The more you do that, obviously, the longer things are going to last. But my personal opinion, from what I've seen and you know what I've been subjected to, it's right around that thousand wheel horsepower is where things start breaking. Boosted him, he broke his drive shaft. Yep, that's what I'm saying, and that's really where I think it starts. It starts is right around that thousand horsepower. Like I said, up until that point, you're fairly safe, depending on what modifications you've done. Age, yes, yes, blown dart, absolutely. Age is another point. You know, the longer you put beatings on things, you know, the more things are going to break. You know, you drop your phone 2 or 3 times, and it's probably on its way out. Same thing with a car. So, same thing with modifications to your car. It's just a fact. And not only that, is it gets more and more expensive. So keep in mind, depending on how far you want to go down that modification road, it gets harder to go faster, and it gets way more expensive to go faster, or more horsepower, whichever way you want to look at it. It it's a fact of life. You know, once you get past, yeah, once you get past the bolt-ons, things start to get things start to get expensive. You know, those couple $100 bolt-on things are great, right? That's a great start. It's a great position to start with. There are a lot of great things out there, you know, to get you started. But once you get past those, you know, a couple $100 things, it gets into $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, and then it keeps going down that rabbit hole, just like that. Here's your quote of the day, and this is off my koozie. Go fast, break stuff, order parts, and does say drink a little beer in there, and then repeat. that's that's the truest saying I've seen in quite a while. But all right, we're getting some chats in here. Let me go to the chat for a minute. Jay, what's going on, brother? Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. Was on vacation, missed last week. Hey, Alex, that's life. I understand it 100%. You know, I appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day when they do. And you know, if you got stuff to do. You got stuff to do. That's just life. Hey, it is what it is. But I appreciate the support. Yeah, we'll look at trying to get some. I got to beat up Jay again. We may try and get something, maybe a track rental or something at MIR, and see if we can get a bunch of folks up here. Brandon, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. Uh, oh, Anthony, thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. That's awesome. I really do appreciate it 100%. Pro charged my Charger RT with 10 pounds of boost, pump booster, 600cc injectors, torque converter next. Thanks for the advice. Hey, buddy, no problem. That's what it's all about. Is I'm just out here trying to help folks. Hang on, let me close my door. Stay here. Stay here. That's what it's all about, man. Is just trying to impart my experience, how limited it is. And again, I'm glad I got people like Three Pedal J, Wide Body Mike, Mopar Mac, and Mike Mechanic Mike. I'm just glad I'm surrounded by people that have a wealth of knowledge on the Hemis, and that's what it's all about: is imparting that knowledge and helping people out down the road to where you don't make my mistakes. But 600 injectors, 10 pounds of boost, you might be pretty. Oh, if you're on pump 93, you're probably okay with 600 injectors. You're probably getting to the point where you where you may need some bigger injectors, especially if you go a little bit more boost. But yeah, torque converter next. Awesome. That's gonna help you. You know, if you do go to the track, it's gonna help you get off the track. You're not gonna notice it in your daily driving, but when you get to the track, you'll definitely notice it there, for 100%. And like I said, that's what this is all about. Just giving you my experience, my thoughts on things, my experience on what works and what doesn't, what's worked for me and hasn't worked for me. That doesn't mean it for someone else it hasn't worked, or what I do doesn't work for somebody else, and what worked for somebody else doesn't work for me. It's just the way it is. Believe it or not, all cars are not built the same. So even though we all have the same 5.7 engine, there's little differences and little nuances between all of them. That my car, I'm pushing 16 pounds, 14, 15, 16 pounds of boost. You come up and you run that in your car, and it might not work. It might not go well for you. That's just the way it is. But like I said, just trying to help people out on their road down this modification road. But again, Anthony, I appreciate it 100%, brother. And I'm telling you, every penny of that's going to go right back into Shake and Bake. I promise you. Yep, Blown Dart, age on parts 100%. I think we talked about that a minute ago. Alex talking to Jay. Jay, I did watch your videos too. Like I said, you need to do landscape versus portrait. But that's just nitpicking. Hemi power 800 foot-pounds and up is when, yep, that's, yeah, when you get into the big time torque, that really takes its toll on a lot of parts too. Jay, I liked your videos, brother. Jay's talking about manual cars. Yep. Yes, sir. Hey, you get to the point, stuff's gonna break. It's just gonna happen. Found a cool Easter egg tearing my car apart the other day. Took the trans out and the bell housing off. Looked up and saw a BGE stamp on the back of my block. I bought the car new in 2013. That's interesting. Interesting. Let's get another video going here. Piedmont Dragway was open Sunday and it was packed. I bet. In the beginning, you know the deal. Boosted. I'm sorry. Where am I at? Blown Dart. You know the deal. The beginning of the season, the end of season. It's just everybody and their brothers out there. Everybody and their brother is out there. But you get into that mid season where it's hot outside. Yeah, you don't get too many people out there. No one likes to be out there in the heat. Everybody likes to be out there in the cool weather. Alex, Dodge must have ran out of regular 392 blocks. when they were making mine. Hey, that's quite the find, man. If you truly have a BGE block from 2013, that's pretty awesome. Boosted Hemi, he was gonna go there, but having drive shaft problems. Yeah, Hugh, that's kind of what I was getting to, right? The further you go down the road, the faster you want to go, or the more horsepower you want to make, the harder it is. Which goes to your point of the gains are not as good as they are in the early days, and then it gets harder and it gets way more expensive. It's just the way it is. But thanks, you. I appreciate you chiming in, brother. Revolt shop quoted me 8,000 for a cam job and long tube headers, and that's for parts and labor and a dyno tune. Does that sound reasonable? Typical cam job, you're looking 1,500, 2,000. Long tube headers, depending on which ones you get, 12 to 1,500. Probably another 800. So that's. I'm just trying to run the numbers in my head. We'll just say $1,500 for a cam and the labor. Even if you said 2,000, we'll say 2,000 for the cam and the labor. We'll say 2,300 for long tube headers, and we'll even go high and say 1,000 for a dyno tune. So 243, 53, 8,000 seems a little steep. Seems a little steep. Because like I said, you can get long tube headers for, most of the name brands are in that $1,500-$1,600 range. You can get a cam for $600-$700. Yeah, 8,000 seems a little expensive. I mean, it is hard to put those long tube headers on, but it's not that hard. Especially if this is a Hemi shop that's done these before, they learned their lesson on how to do it. But Revolt, I think that sounds a tad expensive. I mean, if they were even down in the 6 grand, yeah, and it really depends who you're going to, right? So going to HHP is one thing, and going to Stark's Performance, that's another, right? Two different shops. One well-known name, I'll say name brand in the community, and then Mike Stark just started his own shop. Stark's Performance, he just started, so he's just now making his name. So his prices tend to be a little cheaper than what you would get from HHP. So yeah, it really kind of depends. But 8,000 to me seems a little steep. All right, Jay's talk about Alex's BGE block. That's pretty awesome. JBA headers. JBA. All right, now we're back to Revolt again. I know I keep bouncing around the chat, but back to Revolt. If they're JBA headers, JBA long tube headers, they tend to be on the cheaper side of things. More towards the 1,200, 1,000, 1,200. I mean, they're still expensive. Still expensive. I mean, anything over 1,000 is definitely expensive. But yeah, 8,000 seems a little steep. All right, Jay. There's only 8 or 9 of us in here, so I'm not busting you out too bad. Yeah, Alex, I'm with you. That seems seems a little bit high to me. I mean, even stainless, right? They're only $500-600 more than what you would pay for JBA long tubes. So yeah, that seems steep. It really does. Yeah, Jay, that sounds steep for just those two modifications in a tune. That seems expensive. Yeah, the cam swap is a little bit more involved. The long tube headers, Jay's telling you to remove the heads, which is probably the easiest way to do it. But you can do it on the car. I believe there's one or two bolts. I think the trick, and I haven't done mine. I didn't do mine. I paid someone to do mine, but I've seen on a couple YouTube videos where people have done their own. Is to loosen up that motor mount. I think it's on the passenger side. I think whichever one of those really hard bolts to get to, loosen up the motor mount and jack it up a little bit. Makes it a little easier to get in. Not that it's easy, just easier to get it in there. But yeah, I, I think that's a little steep. Do you think it'd be a good idea to get forged internals at the same time? You know what? Here's the deal. They're already taking the heads. Uh, they got to take the heads off to put the cam in. So I would say you might as well do it at the same time. If you have the money now to do it now, I would just go ahead and do it now. And that way, you're safe. And you can start pushing it, from the get go. But if you got the money, I would just go ahead and do the. You tend to save on labor the more you get done at the same time. And this goes back to what I've said about shake and bake is I've done it, almost one for the most part one modification at a time. So there's not a whole lot of room for error, but the more things you pile on for them to do at the same time, there's more chance for human error, right? We're all humans. We all make mistakes. Even the best shops make mistakes. It is what it is. But it's tough to say go one way or the other. But like I said, if you're gonna get the cam done, and they got to take the heads off anyway, you might as well just have them do the forged internals if you got the money. And again, you'll probably save a little bit on labor. And Jay's saying the same thing. One big price tag and you're done. That's what I was just talking about earlier, Revolt. It's just it's a steep curve too. It's not one of these, it's not one of these gentle slopes. It's like this. Once you get, like I said, once you get past those, I'll call them the cheaper bolt-on stuff. The stuff that's a couple $100. Once you get past those, then you're talking, cams and long tube headers and forged internals. It's a huge rabbit hole, and a huge tax on the wallet. Yeah, Jay, you got a point. You definitely got a point. You could get you could just buy a built short block for less than 8K. I mean, that's yeah. Jay's talking some sense right there, Revolt. 8K just sound. The more I think about it, the more outrageous it sounds. Especially with Jay's comment is, for 7K, you can get a forged short block. Well, why would you do all of that when you can just buy a forged short BGE short block and just swap your stuff over? I mean, yeah. So revolts in Indiana. Yeah, it just like I said, the more I talk about it, the more it like just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'll be better off starting with a used bare block and try doing some work myself. Yeah, I'm one that there's certain things, and I think I've said this before too. There's certain things that I'll go ahead and do, and then there's some things I just not that I couldn't do it, or not that I couldn't learn how to do it. Um, yeah, yeah, doing the work yourself. Hey, if you can do it and you got the space to do it and the time to do it, there's nothing wrong with doing it yourself. But you know, go back and look at Revolt. Go back and look at Jay's video when he's putting his pistons in and stuff. There's a lot of clearances, a lot of measuring, a lot of not special tools, but kind of special tools, to do the measurements and things like that. So yeah, I mean, now you're not only talking, paying for your block and your pistons. Now you're talking about buying tools you may only use once. If you're only going to build, if you build it right and it lasts, you're never going to use those tools again. Ah, yeah, yeah. So by the time you buy, right, you buy tools. Where's the labor come in? Um, yeah. Uh, so Revolt. Hopefully, I know I kind of bounced around a little bit there, but hopefully, I gave you some, at least from my perspective. Um, yeah, like I said, you could probably do some of the work yourself. Yeah, it's tough when you're stuck with a bill for 8 grand and then somebody's telling you 8 grand, 8 grand is crazy for just that small amount of work, and then you're already thinking about doing work yourself, right? It's just starting off yourself. Um, and I even had my machine shop build my short block for me because I didn't want to have to worry about buying the tools, keeping the engine clean, all of that madness. I just left that up to them. Brandon, what's favorite heads for supercharged forged inners, cam headers with all the fixings basically? So I have HHP BES Stage 3, their heads. And they flow great. And Brandon, I can't remember if you have a 5.7 or a 6.4, but both of those stock heads flow awesome. So wide body Mike, um, and all of the work he's done to his car, he still has stock 6.4 heads on his car running eights. He was running 9.0s. So I mean, theoretically, you could stick with your stock heads, to be honest. But I went for the HHP BES because they were CNC ported. And to be honest, they were on the cheaper side compared to a lot of other people's, like T Tech, Edelbrock. I paid 1600 $1,600 for both of my heads. When you talk about T Tech and some of the other folks, you're talking $1,500 a head, a piece. So that's kind of why I went with HHP BES. But like I said, the stock heads flow perfectly fine if you wanted to stay with stock heads. To be honest, especially if you have a 6.4, I would go along with what Wide Body Mike's doing. He's kept his stock heads and built everything around that. And to be honest, I'm not sure how much you're going to get out of CNC ported heads. Considering SRT headers and catted mid pipes instead. Nothing, nothing wrong with that. Revolt, nothing. So if you look at, a matter of fact, if you go, I don't know if you follow RT Life, but if you look at a video he just put out, the elephant has SRT headers. The one they shown on the floor when they announced the elephant, it had SRT headers on it. It made 1,000 horsepower. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with the SRT headers and catted mid pipes. Matter of fact, my mid pipes are catted. I got the high flow, the green high flow Cooks catted mid pipes. All right, we're beating up Revolt here with questions. Alex, you bring up a good point, right? Long tube headers. Yeah, you're 100% right. Unless you're chasing a number and you want every single ounce of horsepower out of your car, you can go with the SRT headers and be absolutely 100% fine. This 6.4, and a lot of people have said this. This 6.4 is a well built, well designed machine. It really is. It's built with obviously parts that fit the EPA standards, but they are good parts to get the numbers they're getting, right. The 485 at the crank. But yeah, so nothing wrong with the SRT headers. Jay bought an extra 5.7 block. Oh, there you go. There you go, Revolt. Jay will build you a block. Build you a short block. Keep the entire drivetrain under 10K, but it's a floating. Careful with the word floating budgets. Be careful with that word, buddy. All right, 5.7 automatic. There you go, Revolt. 3 pedal J offering up some assistance there. Yeah, Revolt. Like I said, I would love to learn too, but it gets to a point where, again, you're gonna have to buy some tools, and you're probably only gonna use them once, maybe twice, unless you really get in, to building spare blocks. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. You do you. Don't let my opinion sway you. But and that's just the way I looked at it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Get blown dark. Get a book. Take a look. Revolt found a block on Facebook for $500. Oh gosh, to clean, hone, and bore mine. I'm trying to remember how much Clinton Machine Shop charged me. I know the overall price. I just can't remember the individual stuff. But for cleaning it up, it was only a couple $100. Um, and to be honest, to hone it out, bore it out, I want to say that was only a couple $100 too. So you're probably in roughly a grand or less to get it cleaned up and cleaned, decked, honed, the whole 9 yards. Roughly about a grand, probably less. Yeah, that is pretty cheap. That is cheap for a block. Yeah, Revolt. I watch out for those guys on Facebook. I've heard nothing but horror stories from buying stuff on Facebook. So he's gonna use his family's garage. Mario. What would just 17-inch wheels with drag slicks give on a quarter mile time? Stock 2020 Scat Pack. 17-inch. So the wheel size doesn't matter as much as the overall tire size. So if you go with a 28-inch tire, right, which is the same height as stock, by the way. If you go with a 28-inch tire, I don't know if you're a manual, I'd go slicks. If you're an automatic, I would go drag radials. But you'll pick up a tenth or two, with a good set of drag tires. So Mickey Thompson Easier Street R's are the go-tos. A lot of people like Hoosier DBRs, drag bracket radials. But I would definitely get a radial, not a slick. I would stay away from bias ply. Definitely get a radial, especially if you're automatic. Now, if you're a stick shift, you're going to want to get the bias ply. So, Mario, hopefully that answers your question. Roughly a tenth or two. Okay, so Jay's hitting me up. So it's even cheaper just to get it clean. So that's not, if you're talking about $100 to get it clean, maybe you're in the $500-600 to get it clean, decked, honed, bored over if you want it bored over. Yeah. Blown Dart Love Am Pro Cleaning. Nice. Jay, I got your back. Yeah, Revolt. Like, yeah. It's tough, when you go to a shop and you think, you're gonna get at least a decent deal from a shop, and they wouldn't overly take advantage of you. But 8K, I think they're overly taking advantage of you. Mopar Matt, what's up, buddy? There you go, Mario. 1 to 3 tenths. I say 1 or 2. 1 or 2, 1 to 3, all the same. You should really see it in your 60 foot, is where you should see it. Hey, I'm doing well, Matt. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. And Pro Sun and Thermal Cleaning Unit. All right. All right, everybody saying hi to Matt. Yeah, Alex, thanks, buddy. Yeah, 10 people. What we got? We got 11 people in here. Let's get hit that like button. Hit that like button, folks. All right, Matt's just chilling. Hey, Hayes, what's up, buddy? Thanks for chiming in. It's going well. A typical Wednesday night chat going well. Thanks for chiming in, buddy. I appreciate it. Uh, Jay, you know it more than I do. SRT headers can make can make some big power. All right, Hugh, thanks for chiming in on the heads question. But like I said, uh, stock heads, the stock heads are pretty good. And like I said, wide body Mike is still on his stock heads. Is still on his stock heads. Destroyer grade 19 6-speed manual was thinking of the new Gen 5 Whipple with drop-in rods and pistons. It's already has a comp 274 and long tubes. What do you think? Absolutely. So is it a 5.7 or a 6.4? Steezus the trash. All right, buddy. Yeah. Is it a 5.7 or 6.4? That's the first question. But well, either way, if you're going with drop-in rods and pistons, if you have a 5.7, you got to do the crank as well. If you have a 6.4, that's already a forged crank. You don't need a forged crank. But if you have a 5.7, you have to buy a forged crank. And if you're wanting to stay in the 5.7 range, you can use a Hellcat crank, a 6.1 crank out of a 6.1, or there's a couple manufacturers out there that now do forged 5.7 cranks, and roughly I think I saw them for just over $1,000 for the crank. So yeah, the Whipple is known to make some big power, no doubt about it. That's it. That's a pretty stout setup. All right, Jay, throwing some knowledge on the 5.7, on the heads and the cam and the combustion stuff. On the East Coast, and I'm happy with my tuner. Was toying with going to HHP or Genetti. Who do you use? I use EFI Specialties in Stafford, Virginia. Fredericksburg. They're like right on the border. Fredericksburg, Stafford, Virginia. That's how I would go with HHP and somebody else. I'll just leave it at that. Um, the other one you named there, I haven't heard a whole lot of good things out of, to be honest. But HHP, you know the deal. They're one of the tops in the business. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, if you're willing to go to HHP, you're gonna wait a couple months before they can get you in. Usually, it's 2 to 3 months, if not longer, before they can get you in for a dyno tune. Um, Dave, my guy at EFI Specialties, Dave Katz, he can usually get you. It's going to take a couple weeks, a month or so to get you in, but tell him I sent you, and he may squeeze you in. But that's who I use. EFI Specialties in Fredericksburg. I would stay away from that second one that you named there. All right, Jay's giving you some good knowledge, Steve. He's giving you some good knowledge here. Yeah, and if you go with that Whipple, that torque is automatic. It's like right there. So you are going to wind up probably breaking some stuff. So be prepared. Which goes into the earlier conversation of the more power you make, the more stuff's going to break. All right, Alex is trying to justify the 1K on a on a one piece from DSS. It's it's really all about it's more about safety than anything else with the one piece. It's just with the two piece, you got two, you got two, you got three spots where it could break. Vice with a one piece, it's either on the front end or the back end. But definitely get a loop as well. Don't forget the loop. The loop will save you. All right, Hayes. Hopefully you get your car back too, buddy. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. All right. You scared to launch it on the on the stock clutches. Yes, Steve. Jay is the three pedal guy. He's our stick guy. So any of those stick questions, Jay, thanks for answering those questions, man. Mopar Matt, he's going back and forth about buying car parts. I hear you. Yeah, talking about Facebook again. Yeah, be careful buying stuff off of Facebook. Boosted had me talk about the DBRs. Yep. Like I said, there's literally primarily two camps: Hoosier DBRs and Mickey Thompson ET Street Rs when it comes to drag radials. Yeah, 6.4 swap. Hey, nothing wrong with the 6.4 swap. With the 6.4, another 1600 dollars for drop-ins, and the sky's the limit. That's basically what Mike's on. He's got the the BG block with stock heads and drop-ins from MMX, and he's well over 1,000 horsepower. So, yep, nothing wrong with that swap either. Uh, it just there is no replacement for displacement, right? We hear that all the time. There really isn't. There really isn't. Anyone have a tuner they use in New York, upstate New York? Oh, I know AJ. AJ is in New York, if I'm not mistaken. Um, J who Hemi Performance, Hemi Tuner. I can't remember what AJ goes by, but he's another one that's busy, right? And he does his own car. It's so here's the deal: you go to a reputable tuner, be it one of the big guy. I think it's Hemi Tuner, Hemi Performance, something like that. I'm pretty sure AJ Burge is in New York. Great guy, great tuner, but it's gonna take you a while to get in with him. Not only does he do his own cars, like HHP, they do their own cars too. So, you're competing with them doing their own cars and them doing really big fish cars. Guys dropping 40, 50, $60,000 on their cars. And you're just coming in wanting a tune for whatever they charge now. I don't know what they charge, but I'm not discouraging you. I'm just telling you, be prepared. You go to a reputable tuner, it's going to take them some time to get in there. Alex, good point. 5.7 is just as capable on the street, 100%. All right, Hayes. Hopefully you get it back, brother. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. Like I said, Whipple base 392. That's Whipple 5.7 base 392 stroker. That's gonna be a beast, buddy. Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. You could buy a whole new short block for what you could almost get a short block, the cam and the headers if you did it reasonably for 8 or 9K. All right, hey, yeah, maybe I'm being a little conservative, but with 1 or 2 tenths. But I don't want to overestimate and then come back and say, Don, you said I'd get 3 or 4 tenths and I only got 1 or 2. All right, Junior Couch, what's going on, buddy? No, I did not go with MMX. I got my stuff through my machine shop. So I got Eagle rods, um, Molly pistons, and a bunch of ARP connection stuff. Call it that. Alan, what's going on, buddy? Appreciate you chiming in, bud. But there's nothing wrong with the MMX drop-ins. Like I said, wide body Mike, his car it's a 6.4 based car, but he's got their 6.4 drop-ins and he's making well over 1,000 horsepower. So yeah, MMX stuff is top of the line. All right, Revolt, that's awesome, buddy. Hey, just keep in mind you're gonna have to get some practice, but it's a lot of fun on the drag strip. Hayes went to Better Built Performance. All right, Brandon 5.7 2021 Challenger RT manual trans. Wasn't sure what power heads could handle. They can handle a lot of power. The stock heads, I mean, they flow extremely well. Uh, and like I said, with the right cam, you're flowing just a little less than the 6.4 Apache heads. Yeah, I would say the stock heads would have no problem handling what you're looking at, Brandon. All right, Better Built Performance in Rocky Mount, Virginia. Okay, 700 wheel on stock heads. Nice. Woo, I'm falling behind in the chat trying to catch up. It's a 5.7. You think you can get into the tens on the Gen 5 Whipple with that setup, or should I go with the Pro Charger? You can get in the tens with a Whipple. 100% you can get in the tens with a Whipple, especially if you do the drop ins and everything you were talking about earlier, Steez. You do all that with the Whipple, absolutely you can hit the tens. Uh, Steven Dixon, I haven't heard of him. Have not heard of him. So he does some H. Okay, all right. All right, Hayes. Like I said, I haven't heard of him, but that's awesome. So I don't know. Is he in New York? His company is Evolution Tune. Steve, so there you go. Look into Evolution Tune. Maybe they're in New York. Um, hey, you can give it a shot. 6.4 crank can be used for a stroker build. I believe so. All right, Jay saying yes. So awesome. Thanks, Jay. I was gonna say I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost positive yes. But yes. So there you go. You want to keep up with the CTSV? Watch out, man. Hey, if he has any work done to that CTSV, those things are monsters. All right, Jay's going back to junior again, talking about pistons. Jay's talking to Steve's upgrading his axles, so you're going to want to do that. And Steve, that's what it's all. This is what this chat's all about, man. I'm telling you. I wish I could reach out to more people to get them into the yeah, into this chat. We put out so much information. I mean, sometimes we do go over a lot of the same stuff every week, but it's because we keep getting the same questions every week, which is not a problem. But this is why I keep the chat open, and I try and work through the chat so we can get everyone's questions, and talk about builds and talk about what works, talk about what doesn't work, and get Jay in here, talk about stick cars, because I have no experience with stick cars. Now I can drive a stick, don't get me wrong, I just don't have a stick car. So Jay is my man when it comes to answering those stick car questions. But that's what this is all about, as a community coming together, and just helping each other out with personal experiences, and making sure you're not wasting your money, because Lord knows I've wasted a lot of money. All right, Jay, DBRs for the win. I hear you. Steve, so if you're gonna keep it a street car, that's the six piston, or the Willwoods, are great. But if you're gonna go to the track, you're gonna have some problems with tires and wheels, when you get those six piston stuff. I think with six pistons, you're stuck with 18-inch wheels, which is which is going to hurt you because you're a stick car. But if you're not going to the track and you're staying on the street, you'll 100% be fine. AJ's Hemi Tuner. I knew it was Hemi Performance, Hemi Tuner. I couldn't remember which one. All right, Jay's talking about axles. Jay's going back and forth with Steve's. All right. Back to Revolt again. So the 6.4 cam and a 5.7 is a good budget option, because those cams are super cheap. They're like $300, I think. So 6.4 cam it is a good option, right? If you want to go cheap, and a custom grind cam is only a couple $100 more. So there you go. All right, Brandon, have a good night, brother. Appreciate you chiming in, man. Uh, it is, and Jay, you're on it, buddy. The 6.4 cam is the budget option, which people a lot of 5.7 folks do go with. Yeah, Hayes, I know. I'm terrible at the rest of the social media. I don't even I haven't even been putting my videos that my videos are on YouTube. I haven't been putting them on my Facebook, my Twitter, or my Instagram. And TikTok, I did a couple draggy videos and tried to put them on TikTok, and they kept taking them down. So I just like, if I can't put up my drag race stuff on TikTok, but if you guys want to help me out on TikTok, that'd be great. I know a lot of people, not a lot. I know there's a few people that have used some of my videos on TikTok, which is, it is what it is. I mean, it's okay. It's the internet. You can get it anywhere. But yeah, if you want to help me out on TikTok, that'd be great. Yeah, you nailed it, buddy. Talking to Steez, you nailed it right there. That's the bottom line. Yeah, Hayes, I'll look into start doing some TikTok. It's just I have a day job too. This is not my only job. I know there's a lot of people that just do YouTube for their job, but this is just kind of a side hustle for me, and it already cuts in to a lot of my life. But yeah, I'll look into trying to do some TikTok stuff. All right, Jay, thanks for chiming in, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're right at the 10 o'clock, man. I'm trying to get down to the rest of these. All right, no more chats. No more chats, please. Let me finish these out. All right, Revolt. You're welcome, buddy. All right, I'll try and do some educational stuff on TikTok. Hayes, I'll see what I can do. Who has the turbo knowledge? I've got 3-inch hot side pipe. That would be Jay, and he just bolted. I don't have turbos. I have a Pro Charger. Yeah, Junior, I don't know the answer to that question. I really don't. Steez, I really don't. We've been trying to plan something. It's just so hard, especially to try, because I'm mostly a track guy. I'm not really a car show kind of guy. But just trying to find a track and get it rented and all that, just tough. All right, Hayes, if you got IG, hit me up on IG. Shoot me those hashtags, and I'll see what I can do about trying to get it done. Thanks, Hayes. I appreciate it. Junior, I'm telling the turbos. I don't. I have zero knowledge on turbos. So I wish Jay would have stuck around. But if you hit up Three Pedal Jay on IG, if you have IG Junior, hit him up on IG, and he can answer that question for you. Hopefully. But everybody, I appreciate y'all taking the time tonight, spending an hour with me, listen to me rattle my gums, and run down the chat. I really do appreciate it. Because you guys know the deal. Every red penny from this YouTube goes right back into Shake and Bake. Um, and I highly appreciate the support. And I'm glad this seems to be getting out to a little wider. Come on, 2 hour chat. I know, right? I'm glad this is getting out to a wider audience now. I see some new people that I haven't seen in the chat before, so which is good. I appreciate you guys, and if you like what's going on in the chat, hopefully you like what's going on in the videos. Subscribe, like, share it on social media, all that good stuff. I definitely appreciate it. Shake and Bake definitely appreciate it. That's it for tonight, folks. Until next week, adios.